Live Well Church, there is no breakthrough without breakout. And the breakthrough is always into the authentic, God-formed self. That is where God is leading us, into our authentic, God-formed self. I shared with you last Sunday how we were formed by God, but shaped by the world. God formed us in the womb, the Bible says. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. But then the world got to us, and they put labels on us, and they shaped us. And Lord have mercy, sometimes even our parents unknowingly shaped us. That's why, parents, it is so important to look into the life of your children and ask God to show you who they are, who He formed them to be, so you don't shape them into something else. And they have to fight to get back, and we have to fight to get back to our authentic, God-formed self. And some of us have been living in God's will, but not yet living in God's fullness. But this is the year, by His grace, that it changes. This is the year that God takes us forward. This is the year where we give it all, everything, to God. We give all of ourselves, our authentic self, and we stop hiding. This is the story of Gideon. The story of Gideon substantiates this truth. Gideon's story was not written about us, but it was written for us. Romans 15:4 says, whatever was written in the past was written to instruct us, that through endurance and the encouragement of the Scriptures, we might have hope. This story about Gideon was written for us that we might have hope, that we may see ourselves in Gideon's story, that we may see God moving us forward and lifting us up and helping us break out to break through into the authentic you, that we may live well, live whole, and live free. We are hoping to see this in the story of Gideon. Yeah. This means Gideon's life is not a mirror for our name. It's a window into our soul. We don't study Gideon to copy his circumstances. We study Gideon to recognize his struggle. Before Gideon could experience breakthrough, he had to break out. And what he had to break out of, my brothers and sisters, tonight was a script that taught him how to survive, but never how to live free and thrive. This is my thesis for tonight. Like Gideon, to experiencing lasting breakthrough and living to our authentic God-formed self, we must break out of these three things. And I want you to listen to me closely. We must break out of the scripted self. This Sunday I called it the false self. But there is a scripted self that we have, that we live by. We must break out of shame. And we must break out of the survival mode. Do y'all hear me, church? For this year in 2026, we must break out of the scripted self, our shame that we carry, and our survival mode. Break out of the scripted self. The scripted self is the version of you and the version of me shaped by fear and expectation, who you learn to be in order to survive, not who God formed you to be. The scripted self is the person that you and I learn to be in order to survive. I remember growing up, and I told you about this, growing up and going through some family crisis and family trauma. I had to leave one high school and go to another high school. And this high school wasn't such a nice high school. And when I was there, I had to learn how to survive in this environment. But then I was called to go to North Carolina with my grandmother and live in that environment. And this high school was beautiful. It was a wonderful school. But I still was acting in the script that I gave myself at the previous high school in order to survive. And some of you are doing the same thing. Some of us are doing the same thing. We're living within our script itself. Are y'all with me tonight? We're living as our script itself, and if we're going to break out, we have to move from that. When the angel meets Gideon in Judges 6, Gideon says, "My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." But before Gideon ever described himself, God had already named him. God said, "The Lord is with you, you mighty warrior." God saw his strength, but Gideon saw his script. Yeah. And that tension lives in all of us, where God sees our strength, but we only see our script. One of the biggest struggles or the greatest struggles in life is trying to reach someone who is living by a script, authored by the world, instead of embracing the self-written script by the author and the finisher of our faith. We say, "I'm weak," but God says, "You're a warrior." Do you hear me tonight? We say, "I'm broke," but God says, "I'm blessed." We say, "I'm afraid," but God says, "No, you're courageous." We say, "I'm not enough," but God says, "I made you. I formed you. You are mine. Do not worry. Do not fear." And if we don't embrace this, we will never experience lasting breakthrough until we break out of the script itself. Oh my God, I'm telling you, we have to get rid of that script.